Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the webinar from Magentis this afternoon. My name is Stuart Benkin. I'm the Head of Data Management Services for Magentis. I'm going to take you through some information today about our new tool designed specifically for dermatologists around treating patients with psoriasis using the latest AI technology. Today I'll be supported by Mariam Jarahi, who's our Product Manager for Data Management Services, and Jamie Harper, our Marketing Manager. Before I get into the details, I'd first like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we stand and which we are sitting, and I would like to pay my respects to elders past and present. So what we're going to talk through today, I'll just cover a few items off. Firstly, because the data platform is new, I'll give you a little bit of context and background, where it's come from and how it fits with our plans, and then focus in on how we're going to be using that platform for the benefit of psoriasis patients. I'll then hand over to Mariam, who'll give you some more detail on how the dashboard works and how to get started, log in and onboard. We'll then have a Q&A session after that, and I strongly encourage you to enter any questions that you have throughout the presentation through the Q&A box, and we'll have time to address those questions at the end, and if we don't, we can follow them up after the webinar. So Magentis Data Platform and how we develop the dashboard. Before I get into the details, the Magentis brand may be relatively new. It's only about 12 months old. But just to reiterate, we've been providing healthcare solutions for over 30 years. Our Genie and Gen 2 solutions are used by about 70% of all privately practicing specialists in Australia as their primary electronic medical record and practice management system. It's our vision to create a healthier society through the use of technology, healthcare technology in particular, and that's why we've now invested heavily into the data platform to try and make that vision come to life. So this graphic explains how the platform fits in. Now, on the left-hand side, you can see that in the course of delivering patient care, a vast amount of data is entered into Genie every day by about 5,500 practices around the country. We believe that data can be used to improve patient outcomes through a range of different applications. Unfortunately, a lot of the data that's entered into Genie is in a format or held in a location that means it just can't be used without being processed first into more useful formats. So this is where the Magentis Data Platform comes in and shown on this diagram in purple. It's built in the cloud and it connects to the clinical software that's used by clinicians every day. It processes data at a very large scale. The platform uses state-of-the-art technology to manage security, privacy, and very strictly controlled permitted uses. It's managed by the same team at Magentis who've been trusted by thousands of practices for over 30 years. The data that gets processed by the platform can be used for a variety of different purposes. On this diagram, I've marked these with yellow circles with numbers in them. For uses 2, 3, and 4, that's insights and research, automations, and data linkage, we're in the process of working through the development of these services. So stay tuned, and we're going to be bringing some more information about how these are coming to life in the next several months. But today I'm going to focus on item number 1, which is clinical reports and decision support. So this is where the data that's been processed by the platform is shown back to the practice from where that data was sourced in order to help the practice to do more with the data that they already have. In particular, for today, we're going to talk about one version of this application, and they're known as patient dashboards. Patient dashboards, as I said before, in a busy practice, a huge amount of data is constantly being fed into Genie. And on the left-hand side, you can see there, this comes in the form of dictated letters, referrals from GPs, free text typed into Genie, test results, radiology results, a whole lot of information. It really is the centerpiece of everything that is known about patients. Some of this data can be retrieved through existing reports. However, much of it cannot. In order to get information to that data that's not stored in an accessible way, you'd need to go patient by patient and access it one at a time, which is really tedious and very impractical, and you just really don't have the time to be doing that. An example of this would be if you wanted to conduct an audit for perhaps a CPD purposes, or to find a group of patients that align with a particular medication, they're on a particular medication, and you wanted to follow them up or recall them, flag them for review for any particular reason, that would take hours and hours and hours of going through patient by patient and looking up that data and recording it in a separate system. So much so that the feedback we have is that that's just not practical and is unlikely to be done. So the data platform changes all that. It does in minutes what would take days to do. It can process thousands and tens of thousands of documents to extract just the relevant data. And importantly, it keeps that data updated. So it's constantly reading and processing what gets entered into Genie. This data summarized will be completed with patient details where appropriate. And these can be exported into Excel for actions to be taken by you or your team. So think about this data platform and the dashboards that we're putting forward here is like having an assistant who's trolling through your records, looking for just what you want, and it works for free. It doesn't get tired. If you have any questions about how this part of the platform relates to the dashboards, put them in the Q&A and we'll come back to them at the end. So now focusing on psoriasis and this particular dashboard that we're going to show a bit more about today. So when we had this platform, we thought, where's the first application? How are we going to make an impact initially? We listened to what's called our voice of the customer research, and we heard in that research that practices wanted better ways to conduct reviews and audits of their data against guidelines, for example, or to do CPD review. So we thought, how do we get started? We went to life sciences companies and said, can they give us a little bit of help to get some of these dashboards and technology up and running? And Amgen came to the party, and we chose that our initial focus is to help dermatologists who treat psoriasis patients. As a result of that, we looked at, in 2023, there was a consensus statement that was published around the treatment of psoriasis by Foley et al. And we decided to design the dashboard that you're about to see along the lines of that consensus statement and that guideline. And thanks to the help of Amgen, we're able to make this dashboard free for all dermatology practices who use Genie. It's important here to note that at no time does Amgen or any other party receive any information that could be used to identify you or any of your patients. I'm going to hand over to Mariam now, who's going to take you through some more details about how the dashboard works and what it is and how to get started.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mariam Jarahi. I'm a product manager for data team here at Magentis. I'll be trying to cover a lot of information in the next 10 minutes about the psoriasis dashboard. So please enter any questions that might come up in the process, and we'll try to answer as many of them in the Q&A session at the end. The psoriasis dashboard. This dashboard is intended to inform you about the status of your psoriasis patients. It's built to be able to help you find your patients of interest quickly and easily. These could be, for example, patients who might benefit from a treatment review, patients who have been lost to follow-up. And the whole goal of the dashboard is to facilitate this process for you. With that in mind, it is organized into 4 areas that is shown here in the slide. The names are here, but what I will do is I'll take a closer look at every one of these areas with you as we go through the next couple of slides. By default, the dashboard will show you all your psoriasis patients, but we have controls and filters at the top to allow you to select particular patients. For example, you can choose to display patients for a particular practitioner at your practice, date filter to exclude patients who might have started the treatment prior to a specific date, and so on. Also, there are searches here where you can search by a particular patient name or by symptoms to allow you to quickly find the patient you want. Once you apply the filter, you will see in the next row, the overview panel shows you the total number of the patients that we have detected using those criteria. The filters that are selected are gonna be also applying to all the data sets that are displayed in the next parts of the dashboard that I will now get to. The next section is the patient cohort pivot. This is the core of the dashboard. And what it does, it actually breaks down your psoriasis patients based on therapy and also based on severity of their psoriasis symptoms. As you can see here, we have various therapies listed in rows, and they're all grouped by classes of therapy of psoriasis. We then, for each patient, we have them grouped by in columns based on the most recent PASI score and whether or not our AI model through the processing detected any mention of high impact sites or severe symptoms in all the Genie documents that you had for that patient. Each cell here in this pivot shows how many patients we found matching that category of treatment and severity of the symptom. This table is actually fully interactive. Unfortunately, we can't show it here, but I thought in the next video here, we can see that by selecting the cell here, you can see how each cell selected allows you to drill down the individual patients that match that category in the next section. So basically you find how many patients and then you see the details of patients here in this patient details table. Here, you basically have individual patients and a whole lot of information showing about them. This video is now showing demographic details like date of birth and ID and the name of the patient, which you can then search in Genie to find the matching patients. Here we also have patient therapy, the dosage, the start date of the therapy, body size, symptoms, PASI scores. There's a whole lot of information here. Also to mention is the next scheduled appointment and the last appointment. All of these tables can be obviously sorted based on the columns to allow you to search for to facilitate finding again the patients you want. But also, as you can see, they can be exported into Excel and CSV file to allow you to do the audit processes that you are involved in, to allow you to then create maybe recalls in your system associated with these patients, or maybe you could take them and add notes relevant to patients that you are gonna see shortly related to these treatments that you found here. Here you can see if you select a particular patient record and navigate down to our next section, which is the source data table, you can view the documents and records from Genie as you have entered them. So exact same consult notes and letter exits that our AI model have used to extract the data for the dashboard is clearly identified here. This will help better understand and verify the content, and it sort of saves you time from going back and forth between Genie and here to verify the information that you need. I think the next, that sort of really wraps up our dashboard overview, but I thought next to cover the onboarding process quickly, because this is a fairly new process for Genie users and being aware of it will make a smoother process. The onboarding process starts by you registering your interest on your website, on our website, on Magenta's website for the dashboard. If you haven't already, the QR code below sends you straight to the form that you fill in and submit to us to get started on the dashboard. you will automatically receive our T's and C's via DocuSign in your nominated email address, which we need you to sign and return. And that triggers the processes that we have to do in order to make the dashboard set up for you. These are all the purple processes here that we will do. It includes ingesting all the data sets that Stu mentioned earlier that we need for the psoriasis dashboard to work, including structured and unstructured data. We obviously do all the processes around de-identification of the documents to make sure your patient information is safe and private through the process. We use AI models to process the data and then use technology to collate the data sets and configure the dashboard for you. At this process, obviously, depending on how much data you have and how much processing is involved, can take different times. Based on the average size of dermatology practices, our experience is it's around 7 days for the end-to-end process to complete and for you to receive an activation email providing you like an update that the dashboard is ready to use. The reason we send activations, throughout the process, we try to make everything secure. So there are multiple levels of confirmation and activation and authentication that is required. But basically this activation email, which is what you have to click on and to enable the dashboard for your practice, is the end of the onboarding process. From now on, the dashboard is ready for your practice to use. And the next slide will show you how you will access it every time going forward. Just for Genie users, this is not currently available inside Genie. So this is a standalone dashboard you access via a URL. The URL is listed here, and it will be a good idea to bookmark that or use the QR code below for really quick access afterwards, after you've set it up.